Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the one and only Pac-Man here, and I am Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and me, Mighty the Armadillo here. We are from the likes of the Mexi Toys videos here, and welcome you guys. Yeah, because as a result though, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of The Simpsons Hit and Run for the Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and PC. So, I believe last time we've essentially did manage to able to completely done with all of these story missions from the likes of in level 1. So today, for this video, is the fact that we might able to actually just to wrap things up through everything in terms of level 1 before we move on to level 2. So because of this though, there's going to be some side content here and there for the sake of the forms of level 1. So, we already know for the fact that, well, as you can see on screen, we need to head back onto Quirky Mart, because obviously we can show off the forms of the Chosen One outfit for Homer Simpson, as you can see on screen. So just in case we can able to show you guys the actual every single costumes in play, yeah, you probably get the idea of how this turns out. So of course, first things first though, let me just go ahead and head onto the telephone box. And obviously we can able to choose whatever vehicles we want to use. So in this case though, for now, let's go ahead and use this familiar family car, as far as you probably already know, from the opening cinematic screen for, you know, the opening theme from the Simpsons TV series, ranging from, I would say, season 1 all the way up to, I would say, season 28, I guess? Well, mind you, it has been about a couple of days since we actually last watched The Simpsons, so yeah, and as you can see on screen is the fact that, well, relatively speaking, we were expecting to able to actually do some of these story-based missions again, but we don't need to worry about this, because obviously that we can now able to actually take care of the forms of not only one in particular bonus mission, but also other missions based off from Racing Syndrome. So because of that, and on top of all that stuff though, we can able to actually find the remainings of the forms of those wasp cameras and all that stuff, so we can able to expect this much. So in this case though, as you can see, as far as what Pac-Man just already managed able to went into is this familiar bridge segment again. So in this case though, he's probably going to be heading up, and because of that, he's get the strong sense of feeling about the fact that there will be a wasp camera somewhere. So, in this case though, Mighty, is the fact that I have to able to go from stair to stair, and then basically I need to be very careful, because if I somehow fell into the water, well, thankfully it doesn't give me a game over, but you somehow respawn into the actual landing surfaces. So, in this case though, oh, talk of the devil, we somehow fall off, so oh well, no big deal, but at the very least though is the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking, you can able to actually fall off so many times, so, and luckily there's no extra lives to be found, so in this case though, you can die as many times you want to, just so you can able to obviously couldn't tell. What the heck? Two of those, oh, and by the way, if you get hit by the forms of those wasp cameras as projectiles, as you can clearly see on screen, you basically start to lose some of those coins, so yeah, I just want to classify that, especially noticeable because, well, you just want to able to save up some coins for later on throughout the game, especially noticeable that, until in level 2 and onwards though, that certain items, to be more specifically clothings and vehicles sometimes, that is going to get pretty expensive most of the time, so, oh, come on, I always miss that. Well, at the very least though, you can still able to actually respawn into that particular bit again, so hopefully you can able to try this again, hopefully though. So, I always found this wasp camera to be, oh, there it is, there we go. Took a bit of a while to able to actually destroy this wasp camera, so, despite the fact that I fell off again, but regardless of such though, we pretty much got this, so, or should I say, I've basically got this, so. Anyway, so a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that is the fact that, actually, before we get into more details about that, if we talk to this particular Simpson right here, that involves around this particular, dollar, little, sign, this is actually represents that you're able to actually buy vehicles with. So in this case, we buy the Duff Truck, along with the forms of the Cellophant's, van. I'm not exactly sure if I mispronounced mispronounced that specific word. I do apologize for that. Well, that's only mainly because it's been about 2 days ago since we actually last played this game. Because I can assure you is the fact that, relatively speaking, that we actually purchased all 2 of those vehicles in this particular level. Now, if you're probably wondering, where can we able to actually access to other vehicles that it does manage to say level 1? Well, that's only mainly because we need to be able to deal with the forms of other missions to take care of. So, for instance, I believe in one of those vehicles that we need to do one of those bonus missions. So in this case though, let's go and hop onto that particular vehicle again. And this time we need to be able to find one of the bonus missions as far as this particular one right here. So, and before we do anything else to be more specific though, is the fact that we need to be able to see what's beyond over here. Like another, you know, coin box as far as, you know, trying to able to grind for more coins with. So, but again, don't destroy it for the 3rd time because obviously it'll just disappear. So, anyways, let's talk to this particular fellow right here so we can able to activate the next mission. So, in this case, the bonus mission.
I know you. You're in my dumb guy support group. Mind if I borrow your truck for a while?
No can do, Mr. Fancy Blue Pants. I begotten to finish up my daily chores, or else Brandine ain't making her muskrat pie tonight.
Fine, I'll help you with your hillbilly chores.
You help me bring in this season's harvest, and I'll take you anywhere you be needing to go. Woohoo! First, most, I want you to go to the gas station, get me some of those cardboard tubes, you know them? I'm gonna build me some indoor plumbing. When you finish with that, knock down all them tobacco plants so the young'uns can clean them up for market.
Okay, so now we need to able to find the cardboard tubes and also to collect the Tumbungo harvest. So just in case we can able to actually get this mission on the road. Yeah, so relatively speaking, notice the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking, we need to hop onto the vehicle before we do this. And as a result, though, we need to do this within a ginormous time limit. So because of this, though, you can't afford to mess this up because obviously if you somehow missed out one of those collectibles as we already technically did, then we obviously gonna waste time. And it also doesn't help about the fact that sometimes that if you drive way too fast for certain scenarios, then basically though is the fact that sometimes you can easily get stuck in walls sometimes. Well, at the very least, if you pretty much know what you're doing, you will be okay. But also we need to be very careful of a lot of emphasis on traffic every once in a while because certain cars will pop up every now and then, but either way though, it knows what it is when it comes to likely for, you know what I mean, is the fact that, well, relatively speaking, sometimes certain cars can get in your way. So, well, usually relatively speaking, that's as far as we can able to try to discuss upon for the sake of convenience, that is. So, a few things we want to explain for this point today, and that is the fact that, as far as what Ray has previously mentioned, although technically he hasn't finished his sequence and all that stuff, today's date is, of course, the 6th of May today, in this case in 2022 today, so it looks like that today's date, the forms of the release date, that as far as the films that one of those films has recently came out, this what appears to be, of course, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness did manage to came out today for the big screen. So because of that though, I'm very looking forward to able to actually watch the film, although much like the films of other films out there, there's going to be a lot of spoilers on YouTube all over the place. So because of this though, yeah, what we attempt to do is the fact that we'll try to ignore the actual spoiler segments, just in case we don't able to spoil the plots for you guys. Especially noticeable, if you those who have not seen the film already, oh, and by the way, if you try to able to actually get into the spares while driving, as you can see, since that the gauge is almost trying to fill up, and as a result though, when it reaches fully on there, then basically it'll activate the hit and runs. In this case, police cops are now appeared, and as a result though, we got busted and we lose 50 coins in the process. So yeah, that's not a good sign, and especially it doesn't help about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, that, well, as far as I'm aware, we actually got less time, so I don't think we've actually got enough time for this. So yeah, unfortunately though, this is one of the first ever failure missions that we actually gonna be doing, so. But luckily though, you can able to actually retry that particular mission again, so just in case you can able to actually give this another attempt, so. Because obviously that, it doesn't matter if you either failed or not, so. yeah, let's hopefully we'll try this again, and this time for the second attempt. So, and hopefully we're not going to able to screw this up again. I think the best advice I can think of for when it comes to the forms of that last segment, if you're trying to able to get the forms of that particular collectibles on the tomato kind of area. So basically though, is the fact that I think it's probably best able to do it on foot. So just in case that we don't able to activate the hit and run segment again. So just in case we're not gonna able to waste a whole bunch of coins, to be more specifically, 50 coins to be exact. So yeah, you probably get the idea about that. So, yeah. And also, in addition to the forms of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we would like to able to originally try and discuss upon the forms of the actual, the overall score so far, when it comes to the forms of based off from Rotten Tomatoes website. But I think we should probably save that conversation until at some point until next week, because as far as I'm aware, as far as what in yesterday, what Maxi has already said about this, ever since in his Kirby and Forgotten Lands Let's Play, that he'll decide to able to actually take a break for a little while for the Let's Play of Kirby and a Forgotten Land, and during at some point, almost to the point right near towards at the very end of this month, which is of course May, because obviously for the majority of next week, along with the next week before that too, we can probably able to actually decide able to do some more recording sessions on this game, so that way we can able to actually catch up for uploading schedules alike, as well as the forms of our fact that we can able to actually just to guarantee that, as far as I'm aware for this point, is the fact that since this is the last part of, you know, level 1, so because of this though, we can probably expect that we can able to actually divide the actual levels within 3 videos apiece. So, yeah, because as a result of that kind of stuff though, is the fact that that'll be our huge emphasis on it, especially noticeable because, well, as far as we can able to classify, if we realize that we can probably be able to expect that we can able to actually do such recording sessions like this. So, yeah, you get the idea for this point, Mighty. You get the idea about that. Oh, jeez, I somehow got stuck. I can't get out of it. Oh, okay. Oh, wait. That was a close one, because if I somehow manage to get stuck in there for a long period of time, then obviously I'll get screwed. But luckily, the time limit stops as soon as we reach this point.
Okay, city boy, I'll help you. You just yell into one of those magic talk boxes, and I come a-running. Oh, man, them things is crazy.
Alright, so we've actually completed the bonus mission. So now we actually got ourselves the pickup truck. So in this case though, we can now able to actually use it as soon as we get to the phone booth. So, yeah, that's all pretty swell, I have to say. Although, but usually relatively speaking though, is the fact that, like we said before, we're not exactly done with this yet, mainly because we're still missing something, like the Wasp cameras, as well as the forms of certain bonus missions based off from Racing Syndrome. So, to be more specifically though for this kind of stuff though, is the fact that we need to able to look for specific amount of NPCs and all that stuff though. To be more specifically, we do know there was one of them which actually locates somewhere in the retirement center, and also there's also another couple of them from the likes of the forms of right near to the petrol station or something, and on top of all that stuff though, onto the other side of the actual level, I guess. Well, at least as far as I can usually can tell for this point. So, now I get the feeling that one of those NPCs we might able to stumble across when it comes to those racing challenges, which are, well, let's just say, Milhouse, along with the forms of Nilsson, and finally Ralph, at least as far as I can usually recall. So, yeah, anyway, so let's just go ahead and backtrack for a bit and then hop back onto the car as we go along. I've no idea what these two people are doing here. Yeah, I'm guessing they probably just stalking our car in case if we're about to able to get busted again. So, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves because we're driving through the fire. Yeah, that's super radical, I have to say. So anyways though, let's just go ahead and find the, darn it, I think we accidentally destroyed that telephone booth, but that's okay, because you can technically still activate it, unless if you're trying to able to go near to that particular, blue ring of any sort. So, in this case though, let's go ahead and select, let's just say, yeah, let's just go ahead and select pickup truck. So, and as you can see, one of those drivers is already in there, so we can able to actually just take a drive. So, Although we would like to able to show you guys the other trucks in general, or to be more specifically certain vehicles we could drive around on, but I think we should probably save it for later, so...
Millhouse, you little wiener, what are you doing here?
Patty and Selma won't give me a license to ride a bike without safety wheels, unless I run the driving tests.
Okay, so here's one of those first racing challenges. So in this case, in this first one right here, we need to go around the track within a time limit for time trials. So, yeah, and basically all you have to do in this particular mission is the fact that you have to go through the entire track for about, I would say technically 5 times, at least as far as I can usually try to record that. But be very careful though, because sometimes though with certain bumpy hills and all that stuff, that sometimes it can really mess you up with your physics and all that stuff though. Well, as much as the informs about the fact that we somehow managed able to choose pickup truck, so as a result though, there were a few times though that the physics might screw us up. But thankfully though, we did somehow manage able to get back on track right here. So of course it doesn't matter what car you're going to be using for the sake of the forms of any other racing challenges and all that stuff. So yeah, you probably get the idea of how these the missions will come in. So yeah, that pretty much expect how this goes. So yeah, that's not much else I can honestly try to talk about for this particular racing challenges and all that stuff. So now I believe if you somehow managed able to completely done with every single like racing segment, oh not again. Although, I'm sure you're all able to actually get enough time until you're able to make it in time, despite you get stuck on certain corners and all that stuff. So yeah, there's also the forms of the telephone booth right there, so just in case we can able to... Oh, is it certainly possible we can able to actually get enough time to able to actually get into, like, in a finishing line within a certain time limit, which I can assure you, we have made it.
This is so depressing. I'm going to feed your driver's license to Jub Jub.
So there we go, one of those racing challenges being complete. So as a result though, we can pretty much expect to move on to the next race challenge. So yeah, because as a result though, I believe if you do somehow manage to complete all 3 of those racing challenges as far as I'm aware, then basically you can get yourselves a bit of a reward. At least if I recall that correctly. Well, mind you, we haven't exactly watched upon that much Let's Plays of this either. Well, again, that's mainly because it's been about 2 days ago since we actually last touched this game. So, yeah, anyway, so let's just go ahead and find another way that we can able to actually find another NPC that hosts the race and all that stuff. So, yeah, you get the idea of how that usually turns out to be. So, and also, as far as what Maxi has already said, ever since during the course of his Let's Play of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, that he did say about the fact that there was that one time that he did watch Marvel's The Eternals, and he didn't like it as much, mainly because, well, I do notice there's some bit of phrase to that particular movie, such as for instance with the visuals and the theme is actually... that the theme is actually a little bit more interesting to say the least, as well as the visual effects. However, the only criticism I can probably think about the actual film is probably due to its runtime, as well as the forms of the pacing issues, and also the character development for the actual film like that. It actually feels a bit too all over the place, I must say, especially noticeable after the events of such so cool films for... What the heck? Okay, so we somehow got stuck into that particular little moving wheel contraption thingy right there, but that's a bit weird at first. Yeah, but I digress. But regardless of everything else though, we somehow managed able to respawn back into that particular flat surface and all that stuff, so yeah, and unfortunately though, for the sake of the forms of how this video is going to turn out, unfortunately though, is the fact that our commentary gets a little bit sloppy for the most part, especially noticeable. It's bad enough that our computer can sometimes just have felt a bit slightly sluggish recently, so but I'm sure we're able to try to get used to that, I'm afraid. But anyways, let's go ahead and switch back into that familiar pink car for Homer, so just in case we can able to drive around super easily, because that way that was actually the only car we're used to. So yeah, as you can see, we've only got one more vehicle left, but again, in order able to actually get that last vehicle, is the fact that we need to complete all of those race challenges and all that stuff, like usually 3 of them in this first level's case. So anyways, let's go drive through here, and from it, well, despite the fact that we bang into the tree, and we soon enough meet up with the forms of, well, Nelson, as far as like we can able to tell from that particular familiar NPC right here. So, anyways, let's go and get some more coins before we do anything, and we can able to talk to Nelson.
I know you. You're the kid that sells me bootleg CDs on the street corner.
Yeah, well, I've been having some legal problems lately, so I'm stuck running these races for the DMV. It was this or read to the elderly.
Alright, so the next race challenge is going to be the circuit race, where basically we need to complete all of the laps and then finish the race, and you have to come in first place. However, if you accidentally destroy that particular... that psych thing right here. That's actually the only charming part when it comes to the forms of the Simpsons, as far as, you know, humor goes, is the fact that, well, obviously it does have... Oh, jeez, I totally forgot about the forms of that particular turn right here, so, I suppose I could possibly able to restart the mission, but, if I somehow mess this up, then I can probably able to actually just pause the game and then just select retry up the restart the mission, so, because usually, relatively speaking, that you somehow manage to get the first race challenge just fine within the first attempt. So, I can't really tell if we can able to actually deal with those race challenges of how much attempts we can able to deal with right here. So, but sure enough, I'm sure you're able to actually try your best as much as you can. So, anyway, so, I suppose, another thing we want to explain about this as well is the fact that, as far as we, technically already mentioned about this ever since in 2 days ago, that we somehow mentioned about the fact that there's going to be Dr. Peach and Dr. Bowser was going to be on the driver roster until, let's just say until the next couple of days and stuff like that for Mario Kart Tour. Well, apparently though, if I've heard about the data mines of that particular event coming up, sadly though, it's going to be another godforsaken team rally again. Oh jeez, we're going back onto the team rallies again ever since Wario vs Waluigi, aren't we? Yeah, I'm afraid so, because, well, I honestly have no idea why they managed able to go for that decision, I'm afraid. So yeah, if you accidentally managed able to destroy one of those vehicles, or your vehicles as far as you're driving on, I believe you're able to actually get mission failed as well, so yeah, that pretty much explains how the fact that, relatively speaking, it's just all about just trying to do some very careful driving and all that jazz, so we can pretty much expect how this is going to turn out. So, looks like I've almost done now, and just only the last few curves, and oh jeez, come on, yes!
This is terrible. I'm gonna drown my sorrows at the Golden Banana.
Alright, nicely done. So I believe we only got one more race challenge left until we're able to get ourselves the final vehicle in level 1. So, let's see right here, we got 92.1% done. So, yeah, pretty swell of your progression right there, Pac-Man. Despite the fact that I somehow managed able to go my vehicle, almost got beaten up. So, but I'm sure there was a way you could able to actually get yourselves the actual the reg if you somehow manage to try to find it as much as you can, like, you know what I mean, with all that surroundings of, you know, Springfield itself, like that one over there that you just somehow jump through. But before we deal with all that stuff though, mighty, is the fact that I'm gonna head back, because as far as I can see on the distance, or to be more specifically with this particular tower, I can probably see the familiar wasp camera that I can able to destroy. So yeah, you get the idea of how the entire structure of this Let's Play is going to plays out to be. So, and if you're probably wondering, I was originally trying to able to show you guys the collector cards, but we'll probably save that until the next video, and thus, before we move on to level 2, until we're able to actually just dive right into more missions there. So, yeah, anyways though, so as you can see, that my Pac-Man just somehow destroyed one of those wasp cameras from up there. So I get the feeling that we're only down to one more wasp camera left. At least if I recall correctly, well, mind you, I haven't exactly double checked on the actual checklist as much, but either way though, it knows where it stands. So, now let's go ahead and find the last race challenge, which involves around in, well, let's just say we need to find Ralph. So, now if you're probably thinking, what is up with that particular NPC character that does manage to have ourselves 2 dice block icons, which means it could be offer us a special specific challenge, but let's not get ahead of ourselves for this point right now because, you know, time for race time.
Hello, little son of the police chief, little angel.
Those nice man ladies made me a race judge.
Okay, so now let's move on to another race challenge, but this time it's the checkpoint race. So basically, we need to pass every single checkpoint within the entire race, and just like before, we need to aim for first place. So just in case we don't able to bang into any obstacles, to be more specifically with like walls, scenery, or to be more specifically with that buildings or any other like things itself, I suppose, which I can't exactly explain all this much because, well, I was able to actually enjoy myself for you, Pac-Man, that unfortunately you somehow got screwed. But that's okay though, because I can simply just retry that mission in infinite amount of times, not so much the forms of some limited tries, so... It's weird that Ralph keeps on saying like 1-1-1 every time whenever we start able to actually start the race, so... But I digress, we can able to actually just to try this again, and hopefully we probably will not be very great at this, I can assure you to that, so... But it's just the fact that with all that driving skills can get a bit of a learning curve involved, but regardless of such though, that's as far as we can able to try to discuss here, so... Alright, so it looks like that those 2 racers taking a shortcut already, so... At least that's sure it's something, I guess. Oh, okay. Oh, jeez, it's bad enough that my laptop starts... Are you serious? Jeez. Come on. And of course, just like always, that you can't afford to destroy the vehicle, because if you destroy the vehicle, then you lose the mission entirely. So you're gonna have to able to grab another car until you're able to... Oh. Alright, if I don't get it this time, I'm just gonna say screw it and just let either Ray or Mighty take a turn, because I just, for some reason, just keep on getting screwed over by the forms of some very, very stingy curves to able to actually just to drive around on, but okay, so this is my 4th time to able to actually just do this attempt, so, and hopefully I should be able to succeed, so, because yeah, sometimes though, with these race challenges in mind, that sometimes certain missions can get a bit easy, while at the same time it might be very difficult sometimes. Well, regardless of everything else though, it's just the fact that that's how it usually goes basically when it comes to simulations like this, so... Well, regardless, on the upside for this point for you, Pac-Man, is the fact that you somehow achieved that shortcut, so... You certainly accomplished that. Yeah, that does seem true. For that circumstances anyway, so... Alright, so it looks like that you're pretty much almost nearly towards that specific ending portion on that particular checkpoint race, so... And I'm gonna go and take this another shortcut in case, well, despite I'm hoping that these bumpy physics doesn't screw me up, which luckily it didn't, so... And of course, we're gonna take a last shortcut, so just in case we can able to skip this entire curve, and soon enough, you're able to get to the finish line. Awesome.
This is worse than when Jub Jub ate my...
And from here, we're able to actually get ourselves the forms of that specific reward. So in this case, we are able to actually expect that, although despite the fact that it doesn't tell us something like this, so technically we actually got the vehicle, so, and I think we got 99.4% done. So in this case, we are entirely missing one thing left for level 1. That's of course the final wasp camera. So we'll just go ahead and find that anyway. So just in case we don't are able to actually wander off like nothing else. So in this case though, I just get the strong sense of feeling it might be somewhere. I don't think there's anything else in here. So in some cases though, I get the strong sense of feeling it's gonna be on the top of the well, maybe somewhere in the barn, I have no idea, but actually I'm also able to actually just pull off for a second because I need to search for something, and I'll meet you guys back. Okay, quick error right there, because I somehow realized the last wasp camera is going to be somewhere on the barn, like you said before, Ray. So I was right all along, so I'm feeling quite impressed with myself. So yeah, basically though is the fact that we need to not go in here, but rather it's going to be on that particular side, if you try to jump in there. And sure enough, we're able to see the final wasp camera, so there we go. So yeah, we've now actually 100% everything in level 1. So in this case, level 1 is fully completed. But before we end this off, we need to go ahead and collect some more of those coins up on this roof. And yeah, that's all you can get for up there. So yeah, because aside from the fact that you will come across into invisible walls. So there we go. We've done level 1. So in this case though, I think I should probably take a break on this. And I think it's time for you, Ray the Flying Squirrel, were able to tackle through level 2. Yeah, exactly, for surely. But first things first though, don't forget to save, because obviously that it works just fine for the sake of the forms of recently. So yeah, I guess suffice to say, we'll go ahead and end things off here. So join us next time for more of Let's Play of The Simpsons Hit and Run. And that is the fact that we'll start able to begin level 2, where I believe you're able to take control of a different character, which in this case, we're now going to be taking control of Bart Simpson. So we'll see you guys on Monday. Later, fellas.